Broadcasting to viewers in Liberia and across the globe. Hello and welcome to News Today on KMTV. My name is Anthony Kukui. Wherever you're watching us from, we say thanks for joining our news broadcast tonight. Let's take a look at stories making headlines. Liberia Revenue Authority Commissioner General Thomas Donat attributes the gaps in the sector to the inability of Liberians to contribute to the sector. Over salaries delays, Civil Servants Union threatened major street protests. And a mother of 5 is appealing for advanced medical attention to rescue the life of a 6-year-old son who is living with tube. Welcome once again to KMTV News. We begin with this development where Action Aid Liberia says it will shortly hold a one-day national policy dialogue on the implementation of government's macroeconomic policies. The gathering will focus on economic justice for women operating small businesses within the country and how government can address the structural exclusion of women in the economy. According to Action Aid Advocacy and Campaigns Manager, the policy dialogue is part of activities marking the 16 days of activism.
The purpose and focus of the National Policy Dialogue is to have discussions around the implications of macroeconomic policies on businesses that are run by women. And so we'll have a number of stakeholders presenting on the work that their departments are doing, for example, the Liberia Revenue Authority, how the different government departments can work with Liberian business people, especially women, to make sure that their businesses expand, their businesses grow. We should obviously help the government in creating opportunities, employment opportunities for people, grow the economy, and encourage more women to get into business. So this policy dialogue is going to present a platform that everyone else is going to participate in. You all know we are still commemorating the 16 days of activism, and this is part of the activities that we've lined up to sort of bring the women's agenda into the fore, to make sure that people understand the different challenges that women are facing, especially women who are in business. Because most people, when they look at violence against women, it's mostly looking at the physical violence that is meted against women, but also the structural exclusion of women in the economy, or the minimal participation of women in the economy has a larger effect on the well-being of women, has a larger effect on issues around equality. So this is part of the discussion that we've started, and we believe and hope that going forward next year we'll have a series of policy dialogues that will contribute to gendered perspectives around budgeting, gendered perspectives around ensuring that economic policies are responsive to the needs, constraints, and challenges that Liberian women are facing.
Meanwhile, Joseph also explained that Action Aid endeavors to see market women transition in business activities across the country.
We have seen that there has been minimum participation of women in the economy. There has been sort of structural challenges that are affecting more women who want to get into business. So you find out that majority of the women in Liberia and across Africa in general, they end up going into the informal sector, which again does not have the safeness to sustain and promote business growth. So at the end of the day, most of the women who are in the informal market, they are just living from hand to mouth. There is no big investment that is happening there. So part of this is our desire to see Liberian business women growing from small enterprises to medium to big investment companies and big investment business that is going to improve the welfare of women and also contribute to employment for women and the general population.
Still with Action Aid, but this time around down to the market. Several market women at the Old Road Juba newly constructed market have lashed at some men in Liberia who willfully abandon their responsibilities and allow them to suffer. They describe such men as irresponsible and call on national government to take action on said issues. Speaking during a one-day awareness campaign by Action Aid Liberia in observance of the 16 days of activism, some angry market women noted that they are going through untold sufferings due to the inability of their husbands to support them.
Then you suffering, you doing low, and they see that all your friends are getting old, no way. Without old, me at home for 33 years old, but they have time, and I'm going to do it. Every money, every year, yeah. I saw people that can know, cherry business. What a minute doing when they bomb out the leader of suffering with the children. Let them come and sit for it. Let them put rope on the men and let them support their children. We suffering, we suffering.
The men will get fair with you.
I want to know about no slamming man. I want to know about slamming man. Because any man, you just put your phone up when you do it. You can learn responsibility. But they won't know. They bomb out the leader who play this story. I support a job for 1 day or to 2 years. Hey, father, he say, I will support myself. He will raise his son. After I rejoin the whole market, he raised his son while alone. He came out to me, I don't want a school fee. I said, but when they came out, go pay for the fee to ask the number from the father, then the school fee, I think I said, but I can't get money. No, force me. No, you can't get money. The high you stay away. The just school fee are responsible. PE, everything hanging on my head. You get me? They will get because I came from the boy say, put on the general or child or whatever. My boy, they get on my head. You are going to big cartoon kid. Yeah? Okay. So if you have 20 behalf of the women too, they must not behalf of the men because we the women that this stuff. So then when you apply your hair, you want new slipper, you want them when you get a problem, you want to all your husband. But also you must be said the man in the world. Nobody is special on the song. But if you do that, you must be spending one like you get where you can be paper, you can be poor, you have to be in poor, you have to get up for 4 or 5 years. When you see rich man today, you start giving his stuff, that man will feel value will be on you. So when you're talking behalf of one man to move on, talk behalf of the many. When you have 5 women, you're more than 5. You're not easy on the women, you're not easy on her. We just pray God. Therefore, can you come and people are so thing that they can post start to it? Because they take advantage too much with the women and too much. So when they eat it off, the children school fee, they're not able to pay before full money. So when they see you doing too much things, they will do all the money on you want it. They don't want to do nothing. When they get fat on that side, they don't ever to smell it on their children. And you the woman do not fight for a good thing on the children and now, then you everybody you get a child now, they are working that day. So we pray for that for me both start to it. Then the men support their children there, that they're ready to do it. We need to put the children there, also men need to take care of it. The men are fucker.
Over now to the Ministry of Information regular press briefing. The Commissioner General of the Liberia Revenue Authority, Thomas Donat, has disclosed that the inability of Liberians to contribute is responsible for the gap in the revenue sector. Addressing the news conference on Thursday, Mr. Nash stressed that there will always be revenue shortfall once the attitude of Liberians towards the revenue sector remains the same. He encouraged Liberians to be more industrious, talk less, and do more work. The LRA boss said if Liberia is to fill the wide gap in the sector, Liberians themselves, through taxes, have to pay it and help move the country forward.
The gap our country faces is our inability to contribute. The little money we're collecting from Freeport, the little money we're collecting from a few businesses, it's not sufficient to fill the gap. We got to become more industrious as a people, start talking more and talk less. I know the conversation will be, oh, there's a revenue shortfall. There will always be a revenue shortfall with our attitude. Let me tell you, this kind of attitude of ourselves, there will always be a revenue shortfall. Who is supposed to fill in the gap for the shortfall? Not us. It is our $1, our $2, our $3. And let me tell you, real estate is so small. If you get a small house, if the house are 10,000, 10,000, you just get a small house. How much do you think you're supposed to pay? $25. And that $25 for the whole year. But we even say that if you get a $25, come pay $10. Then people still get problem. So all those people there can Johnson Road, Broad Street. Look, for me, I don't care about whether your family was the noble family during those periods that day, so you come your own property here. During our regime at LRA, we change that mentality. So if you're hearing this, what I'm saying, and you think say you occupy major spaces in Cinco, major spaces in Broad Street, major spaces in Harper, Greenville, Zwedru, and the LRA will not go after you, will go after properties and you have to pay. So start thinking now, if you hear me, come and let us discuss. If you think say you can go to talk show hosts, then who will fool you and eat your money, and they be talking all kind of rubbish, you'll be wasting your time.
A Liberian journalist, Robert Haynes, has embarked on a campaign calling for Liberian journalists to be licensed. According to him, the profession is the number one and should not be used as a transit point for others. Mr. Haynes, speaking to KMTV News Thursday, said he feels embarrassed when people brand members of the Fourth Estate in a negative manner and form something he noted should be changed. As part of his new initiative, he said he is working with key stakeholders in the sector to help, that's to ensure his endeavor is realized.
It is not an occupation, it is a profession. So is nursing. People who are nurses, people who are doctors, they are lessened. And I'm calling for journalists in Liberia to be lessened.
Why?
Because it is a professional area, and professionalism lays with ethics. If you go outside of your ethics, you should be punished. This is this. If a nurse administers a treatment on a lady, and a lady or that person dies, the hospital or that person is taken to court. And if the person is found guilty, the lesson revoked. If a journalist is writing a story, we need to go beyond Press Union of Liberia, which is the parent body, go beyond the PUA or just issuing a release out in solidarity of this person. We need to go beyond that. If Robert Haynes, as a journalist, writing a paper on somebody, defaming the character of somebody, and then taking me to court and are found guilty, then my lesson needs to be revoked. If we try to do those things, then of course we're headed the right path.
What about the contrary? If journalists are not licensed, what do you hope to see?
I see what I see is that there will be too many people. Like in the morning you'll hear or you see some newspapers. Some people will write. You don't even know how they manage to get a newspaper. They just writing and getting all sorts of headlines. It is not a professional. You're not professional, but you're operating in a professional terrain. It hurts me who sat down in school for 4 years reading mass communication to be a professional journalist and see some people who think they have done their apprenticeship or because they're able to handle a microphone and scream in the morning hours and then making people to believe, even though some have said they're not journalists, but they're using the airways to be able to put out things out there and people listening to it. And so what I see people not being listened and continue to do like this, though we have the Atula Kamara press freedom or the act, but we need to be responsible people. It hurts me, our professional area, that's my profession. It hurts me to see people operating it. And economists will tell you the same. Nobody wants to see that profession to be rimmed out. So now you hear people burning journalists, say they are journalists. Only because of some people who jumped into it of late, who chose to be use it as a conduit of getting rich, bringing blackmailing, spree and all of that. But this is a conversation we're hoping to have with the heads of media entities in the country, the parent body of journalists, which is the PUAL, and the Ministry of Information, Culture Affairs and Tourism, to have people giving permit to operate.
Over now to this development, a mother of a 6-year-old cat that's caused a sort of victim, Mema Scott, is appealing for assistance to ensure her child's life is rescued. Fanny Johnson age 6. In 2016, innocently drank caustic soda, which damaged his esophagus and is now living in pain. Currently, he does absolutely everything from a tube that is inserted in his stomach and normally feels pain while drinking. According to his mother, Mema Scott, the incident occurred behind her back when she went to her farm to look for food for her family, while a lady in the community had caustic soda placed by Vanning, but never thought he would have drank it. Since 2016, Vanning health situation is not being improved and requires advanced treatment abroad. Explaining further, she noted that life is increasingly getting unbearable for her son because she is alone and a struggling son and has no one to assist her. She has been explaining more to KMTV News.
While leaving with grandma to go in the bush, the accident take place behind. So people can call me. Wow, go with washing. I see him vomiting with blood. See him vomiting. I ask my mom, I say, why him vomiting? He said, I was stay in dream. I say, you get it. He say, from the nail now, they call her Kebe. She's hoping every cry. She say, oh, mistake. And I expecting the boy to take the cost here when he already take it. The first hospital I taken to the Bombing hospital. I'm taking the Bombing hospital. When they do the check-up on him, they say we can't able like chemical reporting. So we refer if on to GFK. We send all that person to Jackson at the hospital. In 2016, in August, when we go that person, the one the doctor tell me they say we do surgery on him, but we not solve the problem. Instead, need to travel, but we travel best. I had to do the surgery on him. When they do it, we're coming on better small. They say, back, we'll go back in the interior. We did it get worse again. When I come back, go MSS send me GFK. We go GFK, they do surgery now, they put a tube on him. They say that what they able to do for him to get him help and they can find a way to travel. So they give me medical report. They say, continue asking for help, your son need to travel to go take better treatment because I esophageal damage from the caustic. So asking for help. So they were more clearing, get to know her on Facebook too. She said, send me get the boy 1 year visa and they deny the man. There should be running after a document. Me carry the boy and do a surgery. So Clara reached to me, said that your son, if he agree, we run after the people, they carry the boy. I say, yes, come. That the boy sick. And I want him to be alright, so I will agree to sign the people. I sign the people, she carry the boy. The boy made 1 year with her. She didn't carry the boy for the treatment. She bring the boy back. Now explain nothing. To say the hospital not even a conditional or different thing, nothing. She will say visa expired. She left and go back. I stay asking help again. Going over radio doing SOS call. For people to feel for him, they must get help and not get nothing. The father in here, father can get help, the father and family, all of them turn back on stay asking for help. Let people more help me for finding the condition in here, it be safe for his son. I have nothing.
Well, Ms. Scott has at the same time been explaining how she feels little Vanny.
I feel Vanny too is too.
Okay.
But how I feel?
Okay.
I put it
to put the food in here.
Yeah, put the food in here.
And then you pump it.
Yeah, then.
What kind of food do you feed him with?
I'm not feeding with milk, juice. I protein juice then with the milk, and soy milk.
Okay.
And common wheat. All the rest cereal, the food, the baby don't eat. That's what I'm feeding with.
What does he tell you when you are feeding him?
When I'm feeding him, just tell me say the food is too looking small for him. You can't satisfy him. When I finish feeding him, say he look in there and he come from eating second. I want him to tell me, say I'm not feeding, I come from eating. I say, but you have to manage it.
How is it for you? You alone, you running this thing.
My one running this is making the other children to sporting because his sister said were there. My 14 years old daughter pregnant now. She will walk around now. They just called me the day before yesterday. They say the main second support. I said, boy, how? Because the other boy not eating from him more. It business major to me more than that one. That one too important. All the time people you run after it for me. So he really know how to make.
Can he drink water?
He can drink
Through his mouth?
No.
So he does everything through the tube.
Through the tip. He really sometimes he find it, he choke up.
What kind of help you want them to give you?
I want them to give me help for finding to move in the condition because it's too hard. Since 2016, it's not easy. Since 2016, it's not easy.
Okay.
I just want them to give me help. Finding me suffer myself, I suffering too because I just going up and down. I even get my own place more favorite. When I go to the other person, they give me help. 2-3 days because for a condition, some people not there to see that everyone, every feeling me, they will feel bad. They will give me notice again. I will move. I will go in place to place with you. I get one for you to feel for finding for the condition. Then start suffering for you to feel for him and getting help because I get no other way now.
Mema Scott, the mother of a 6-year-old boy, been failed through 2 days appealing for assistance to save the life of her son. Over on to this development, a 9-year-old girl, Linda Sherman, was on Wednesday found dead on Lynch, that's in the Lynch Street community. In an interview with KMTV News, a neighbor of the victim disclosed that the late Linda was found dead in her bedroom on a rope attached to a coverboard after her sister, that's the sister of the victim, rushed into his room, terrified and screaming for help. Obadiah Peterson has at the same time underscored the need for proper investigation to be conducted to know the actual cause of death.
When she entered the house, it's still not too long, but our sister called Blessing came from on the road. When she came from on the road, she asked when she entered the house, when she tried entering the room, according to her, the room, the door had to open. But then she heard the girl crying inside. As she called, and she came back outside. So when she went, then stayed too long, she came back. The people said, "Go for me." At the time, I was in my room already. When she came back, she pushed the door open right away. She saw the girl in that position, hanging on the dresser. Then she called me and said, "Oh, Uncle Obadiah," she backed up. "Uncle Obadiah, can't see what happened. What's that did herself?" I said, "Well, go outside." I saw the girl on the dresser, laying in the room around her neck. I said, "Jump outside." I started calling people. I said, "My people are coming." People started coming. I sent the boss to go on the road and call police. He left, he went on the road to call police. While myself, I went on the road to check for her mother. At the time, she already gone in the market. That was all happened. Because we went, the police invited us yesterday, and myself, and then they took statement, and then they asked us to, come home, so that today, maybe they will call us so that we can get central. But the only thing I have to say is that for me, I want for the law to take it right, to see the root cause of this that happened in the hospital.
Well, the mother of the late Lydia Sherman, who allegedly committed suicide, wants justice to be done that's the death of her daughter. According to a media Toby, she doesn't believe that her daughter committed such act and is therefore calling on the relevant authorities to conduct investigation into the matter. Lydia Sherman was a third grade student of the St. Teresa Convent High School in Monrovia.
I already know what happened, but I went to buy my kid was outside, the people call me. I reached the place, I saw the whole place crying up. Everybody crying, now the police call me, they ask me. The other policemen start showing me the picture. I see him up there. I don't believe it, I don't believe it. I don't believe it, I'm not going to get out there, bro. I don't believe it. She was not sick. She was not sick yesterday. She came from school. All she go to change her uniform. I don't know. I'm confused. I don't know. I didn't know. I don't know.
So what do you want the government to do?
To check behind my dollar their business.
Meanwhile, the spokesperson of the Liberia National Police, Moses Carter, has confirmed that after a series of investigations and examination on the victim's body, it has been established preliminarily that the cause of death is suicide. He noted that the body of the late Linda Sherman is at the John F. Kennedy Hospital, where she was pronounced dead by doctors. Mr. Carter at the same time noted that the police are conducting investigation of the circumstances surrounding the death of the victim and to ascertain who or what may have prompted such incident. He has been explaining more in an interview with our reporter, Sialim Bokari.
Little girl, 9-year-old little girl that was found hanging in a room on Johnson Street. Our office forensic team responded and did a physical and extended examination of the victim. And from all indications, it was established preliminarily that the incident was suicidal. And suicidal because there were signs that were, seen visible to prove that the incident was suicidal. For example, the tongue of the victim was out of her mouth, defecated on herself, and the rope was caused a deep laceration on her neck around the esophagus. So all of these signs pointed to the fact that it was as a result of suicide. So she was taken to the JFK yesterday, where she was pronounced dead by that. While we are conducting circumstances surrounding the death and the suicide death of this young female, and the investigation is going to make sure that we speak to all of those concerned, so as to establish what they have prompted for to have committed suicide. If she did it of her own, we definitely get to know if someone prompted it. The investigation will definitely establish.
The Civil Servants Union of Liberia has threatened major street protest action in demand of delayed salaries payment for national government. The union statement comes following the assurance by Senate Pro Tem Abachi that the government is working hard to stabilize payment of salary by the end of February 2020. But the union, on the other hand, has challenged the government to respect the purpose and intent of the Memorandum of Understanding entered between members of the union and government of Liberia since October 19, 2019. The MOU, according to the union, requires government to ensure the regularization of payment of civil servants' salaries. It can be recalled that the Ministry of Finance and Planning, that's the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, disclosed that the Liberia Revenue Authority projected revenue collection from July to November in the tune of around 60 million has experienced shortfall. Over now to this development just coming in, Information Minister Len Eugene Nambe has disclosed that the Board of Directors of the African Export and Import Bank has approved more than $25 million United States dollars financing facilitated for commercial banks in the country. We hope to bring you more detail on that development in our subsequent news broadcast. You can also visit our website at www.kmtvliberia.com for more news and information. On that note, that's how we go home on this edition of this news. But before going, here once again are stories that made the headlines. LRA Commissioner General Thomas Donat attributes the gap in the revenue sector of the country to the inability of Liberians to contribute to the revenue sector. Over salaries delayed, Civil Servants Union threatened major street protests. And a mother of 5 appeals for advanced medical attention to rescue the life of a 6-year-old son who is currently living on a tube. We say many thanks to you for always joining our news broadcast from across the globe. On behalf of the entire news team here, my name is Anthony Kukui. Until we back here tomorrow with more developments, do have yourself a pleasant good night from Monrovia.